touching something Shane P. O'Reilly says. So Shane P. O'Reilly's a county councillor in Cavan, used to be the mayor. Used to be the mayor of Cavan. He's a county councillor in Bay above Virginia Municipal Authority. And he was talking about tidy towns groups. And I said many times before, and two things he said. Just bear with me when I say I go to the first one, because the first one I said many times before. And I really, when he was the mayor of Cavan, I annoyed his head about it, I suppose. And I have been annoying every mayor of Cavan for the last 5 mayors, I suppose, about saying we should be more tougher. We should be the most toughest county in the country in dealing with illegal dumping and people that litter. We shouldn't hold back. Again, we hold back in this county. We're afraid of the people illegal dumping and everything. We should go all out on them. We should make them work day and night cleaning up the roads for punishment. We should make them day and night go out. We should find them an almighty amount of money. It's €4,000 for illegal dumping. Half of this, it takes 2 or 3 years to go to the courts to refuse to pay. It's not a shit show, and we have to be totally honest with ourselves here. But it should be, we should bring them out of their houses and make sure they work day in, day out and cleaning up the rubbish on the roads and make them pay, because again, they're sitting at home, the majority of these people, and they're not paying a cent into the economy, they're not paying a cent into anything. They're sitting at home and they're dumping rubbish around the county and expecting people to clean it up. And again, tidy towns groups, unfortunately, have to do the majority of this. And it's not fair. It's simply not fair. And I do agree with JP O'Reilly in this. We need to be tough. We need to be the toughest county in the country in dealing with this. And I would suggest, as I suggested before, there should have been €20,000 for a illegal dump and fine. Or even a face imprisonment, no matter how many times you do it, depends. But I say it should be up from 4,000 to €20,000 fine, and basically just cripple them economically. Because these people who are doing it, they're doing it every day of the week. There's people coming up from Lockwood to dump in Cavan. There's people going from Cavan to Westmead to dump. Again, we have to come down on these people because they're doing it every day of the week, and they're costing you and I, the taxpayer, a huge amount of money. And sitting down and pretending that it's not there and we can't see it happening, it's not negotiable anymore. We have to be tough again. We have to be strong, because the laws are there to enforce. The laws are there to uphold the law. Again, when we choose and pick and choose when we enforce the law, then that's how people break the law, because they see loopholes and they're like, we're going to break it. And again, I say this again, we have to be tough. We do have to be tough in this, and we have to get our act together. I know it would take a good bit of money to bring them up to courts and things like that, get them out of community service and everything like that. But it's the only way, because if we're going to sit here, again, what's happened at the moment, it takes 2 or 3 years for it, if they refuse to pay the fine, to go to court, and the courts are backed up to the last. And this is what's happened. And then when they go to the court, it's just basically, the judge really just says, look at what can you do? And that's all that's done, and it's wasting a huge amount of taxpayers' money. We should just put them out straight away on the road, and we should just make them walk. And we shouldn't name and shame them. Again, above all else, you shouldn't name and shame them. But yeah, I want to talk about tidy towns groups for I'm here in a second. As Shane P. O'Reilly did say on Road and Sound, tidy towns groups do an almighty amount of work, going above and beyond any call of duty. Take for example Cavan Town tidy towns, may I say. They're cleaning out rivers in Cavan Town. They're cleaning out ditches in Cavan Town. That should be up to the local townies. We have to be fair. It's alright picking a bit of litter or doing a few weeds in the sidewalk or whatever. That's acceptable. That's a small bit. Again, doing a huge amount like that. That's above and beyond any call of duty. Especially when you're not being paid for the rent. Like tidy towns groups get paid through the tidy towns organisation or through the Rural Development Fund, or through schemes or from the local authorities. And as we see, tidy towns do more in some cases than any local authorities in the country. Obviously from budget cuts and things like that. But I'm saying this straight, tidy towns shouldn't have to do all this. It should be really the local authorities. Tidy towns should have obviously a bit to do. Obviously a bit in their community, but not as much. Again, they're being abandoned in the majority of these communities, and the county councils are letting them do it. And not getting involved, and basically just saying to them, go on and do your own thing, and then they have no assistance from any local authority, and that's not right, because they pay their taxes for a reason. They don't pay it just for the sake of paying it, and it's not fair on elderly people, elderly members of the public, children and things like that, working long hours in trying to keep the community clean and tidy and getting basically nothing in return. And again, they should really be paid. If they're going to do a huge amount, the local authority should fork out the money to them. I give them a voucher, give them something that's a small thank you, because these tidy towns groups, particularly Cavan tidy towns, Mulla tidy towns, many other tidy towns, Baywood tidy towns too, they do a lot. They do a lot, and we can't sit here and say they don't do anything, because they do a lot. They do a lot for the communities, and they don't get paid for it. And it's only fair, if they do a lot, if they do a huge amount, like the majority of tidy towns in this county alone, does an almighty amount of work for that community, an almighty amount. It saves the taxpayer, you and I, a lot of money, because it saves a lot of the council's resources. And it's not fair on them. It's not fair with asking volunteers to go out and work an almighty amount of hours for basically nothing, giving them nothing in return. The local town should give them something, and it's totally honest, especially if they're young people, they should be given something. And thankfully this year, my suggestion to the Department of Rural Affairs, Michael Wing, last year, you went through. Basically, I said last year for the Tidy Towns competition should be a special award for young people involved in tidy towns. And I must have got my wish. I never asked, them was it me, but it must have been because I sent off a huge letter to Michael Wing when he was the former Minister for Rural Affairs, head of Home Offices now, and I said it to her about it before when she took office. I said it to her about it too. So again, I was full on the only person in the country just literally giving a fuck with the tidy towns running on last year. And literally I was just giving a fuck 24 hours a day, 7 days a week about it. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for watching, and to all the tidy towns groups out there, thank you for your service to your country and to your nation and to your people. And continue doing the work of the Lord, and keep your place clean and tidy, and make sure you keep pride in your town and in your village, because that's where you will grow up, and that's where your children will grow up. So please do take pride in your town and respect your town. Thank you.